Okay, I'm Jim McMahon. I'm the MP for Oldham West and Royton. For those who don't know, that's near in Greater Manchester. I think Labour faces a bigger problem than I think it is free and willing to admit, which is that many of our working class voters don't believe that Labour is a party of working people anymore. This is not a new thing. People have been deserting Labour for quite a long time. But we can't hope to form a government if we don't win back our working class base. And actually we don't deserve to be in government if we don't win the trust of our working class base either. Now, I think we've seen a coming together of two different mindsets within the Labour Party. Not left and right, not moderates or left-wing ideology, but actually a very socially conservative working class and a liberal middle class. And I think they've come together on austerity. And I think Labour's position that said austerity has gone too far and the people who are paying the price of austerity are the working classes of the country, that's managed to unify people. Well, this is a very fragile coalition because we're facing Brexit where Labour is trying to navigate what is a very complex and difficult path ahead of us. We know that a lot of people voted to leave the European Union not because of the European Union as an organisation, as a coming together, as a coalition, but because they wanted to feel some kind of control over their lives. For too long it's not been working for them. The decent well-paid jobs that gave you security, where you worked and where your son was going to work and their son was going to work, they've gone for many people. That security has been taken away from people. The order that used to exist in society doesn't exist anymore. And people have got a right to say who's making decisions and in whose interest, because it's not working for me. And so I see Brexit as an opportunity. I campaigned to remain because I felt that that was going to give our country the most security. But people voted to leave, and we need to respect that vote and make sure that we not only see it through in the letter of the law, but we also see it through in the spirit of what we do as well. And to embrace it, because there's a political opportunity here where the Tories have walked off the pitch in setting a vision for what Britain can be after Europe. There's a complete vacancy of ideas in here that I think Labour can own. But we've got to do it in a way that really addresses that fundamental problem of people feeling as though they can't control their lives and their future. And so the way I see it is that we have to have a new order of how we govern the UK. For too long decisions have been made removed from people. For too long we've had decisions made in a way that's so disconnected with the way communities really work that actually even when we've really wanted to make change happen, we've not been able to see it through on the ground. Just look at the last Labour government. You know, if we built a house for every time we said we wanted to build a house, we wouldn't have had a housing crisis. But we didn't, not because we didn't have the will, but because we didn't have the levers of change in the way that we ought to. And so if we can marshal that demand for more power in the Brexit negotiations to set a new structure for Britain and push power down, then I think we can win back people. I think we can end this constant fight where people are blaming themselves and each other for the circumstances that people find themselves in. I think we can end the situation when people who are on benefits, many in work, are blaming other people on benefits for the financial circumstances that they themselves feel. I can tell you what, 2008, we're now 10 years away from the queues at the Northern Rock cash machines where people are trying to get back the money. There aren't many people in Oldham that blame the bankers for the financial crash and for the situation that they find themselves in. But they probably do blame the person across the road. The person that's maybe having a slightly better chance than they are, or the immigrant that's coming in and taking their jobs or undercutting their wages. Now we know that that's not a fair settlement, we know that's not where blame ought to lie, but if we ignore that and dismiss it, then we will come to reap the consequences of that a bit later on. So a new flavour of devolution for England is important. We're happy to talk about devolution when it comes to Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, but we seem to have a block when it comes to talking about England, and I can't understand why. We can't carry on making policy in London and then discounting it for the rest of England. We have to find a way of pushing power down to communities. I don't just mean regions, I don't just mean mayors, I don't mean council leaders. I mean that people feel control of their lives. So that when they want a decent school, the school's going to be decent. When the kids are leaving school, they go into decent quality technical apprenticeships or university, knowing that there's going to be a decent, well-paid, secure job that's going to have a good pension at the end of it, ready for them when they leave that training and education. And if we don't provide that, and don't provide the foundation of decent public services, and my final point is this: it's not good enough for Labour to say to people, we're going to protect you from the worst excesses as a Tory government. We're going to somehow make sure that they're not going to go further to erode what you've got. Because what people have got and what they've been given for decades is not good enough. What Labour has to say is, you will have a fundamentally better life under Labour, where if you're willing to work hard, roll your sleeves up, you can get on in life and you can achieve a better life for you and your family. And more than that, that the next generation will have a better chance than you did, and the one that goes after them will have a better chance than they did. And if we can't answer that question, we don't deserve to be in government.